Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to cover execution context with a bunch of examples. Okay. The topic is very important for if you want to have a deep knowledge of the working process of JavaScript, which means how JavaScript engine actually process our code. Then we have to take care of execution context. Otherwise, you will run some issues. Why it's not working? You don't know the reason. Oh, why it works like this way? You don't know the reason. So now let's take a look at what is execution context first. An execution context is created when your JavaScript code is executed, and we use you cannot see them. We're just using execution context and all the things we covered today in this video to explain, theoretically how JavaScript works. But in different JavaScript engines, and they may have slight difference when they do the execute JavaScript code. And all the execution contexts are pushed into a execution context stack. JavaScript is a single thread, so it only has one stack per application. It will have two types of execution context. First one is a global one. Global is also default one. It will load first as the JavaScript code executed, and it only has one global execution context per application. And in the global, we're gonna also have a global objects. Window object is the global object if we will execute our code in the browser. But if we execute our JS code inside using a node platform, and it's gonna be global object. It doesn't have window, okay? But for this tutorial, we will execute our code inside the browser, so you will see window object. And you will also have this keyword, and this keyword will refer as a window. This is global and global execution context. Okay, we will see more here. Okay, function. It also have another called function execution context. It will be created a function is called. Each function has its own function execution context. Global only one per application, but the function execution context depends on how many functions you actually code. And it's gonna have each function execution context for each function call. And it also have arguments object, which is an implicit object and which is an array-like object, exists for all the functions. Okay, now let's go to execution context, which or execution stack. This is a stack, which is the last in, first out. And in the stack, we'll have bunch of execution context and execution context. Okay, and execution stack is also called like a calling stack. Okay, it's a stack structure with last in, first out. It's used to store all the execution context created during code execution, and here means global and functional. Okay, JavaScript engine will execute the function those execution context is at the top of the stack because it's the last in, first out. So at the bottom, you're gonna have global. On top of global one, you're gonna have the functional one. Only all the execution context before you is popped out, and you are the last one. JavaScript will execute that one. Okay, when this function completes, its execution stack is which is not a stack. It's execution context is popped off from the stack, and the control reach to the next below it in the current stack. That is stack structure doing. Okay. And when we create execution context, JavaScript will do two stages. And the first stage, when you read articles online, you probably already heard about called hoisting. And you probably heard about the sentence like var declared variables are hoisted, but let and const are not. That is this one, okay, this one talking about. Two stages creating execution context. Creation phase is also called the hoisting. This is the same thing. Just in this phase, what it's going to do, in this stage, JavaScript engine will compile the code but doesn't execute the code. It will record the variables, declarations, and the functions, and only variable declared with var, not a let and const. I will explain what are they, okay? Don't worry. And here I just briefly explain. In the execution phase, which is after creation phase, you are done. It will execute the code line by line. If it is in global, it will start with first line of the source code, and if in a function, it's gonna start with first line of the function body and execute the code one by one. If you have variable updates, it's gonna update the variable values, and if you have variable declared with let and const, we will execute those variables. Wait a minute for a second. Okay, now this is the execution context, okay? Now let's take a look at what's inside the execution context. An execution context potentially will be look like this. It's actually an object. In the object, you may have something called the lexical environment. You will have something called the variable environment, but they are so close. Lexical environment, it will record what? It will record the variables declared with let, const, and all the functions. Okay, and the variable environment only records variable declared with var. But in the future demos, when I show you, I will mix them. Okay, in the future, when I show you, our mix them only have a lexical environment because they just record the same thing. Also, for the environment record, see here, each of them have environment record. Actually, environment record based on specification, it also have different types like object environment record, declarative environment record, global environment record. Here, I just don't differentiate them because all of them gonna have the variable or functions different type to be registered. So here I just have environment record, and in the future when I just move all the variable declarations and outside and put it in the lexical environment. Okay, I just don't do because all of them are properties, and property is the value of this property is an object. So I don't want to have lots of things. So when I do execution context being pushed in, I just have a lexical environment and it's gonna become object. I will have environment all the variables and functions inside the environment record to put it here. You will see in a minute. I want to follow this one exactly. Okay, it's gonna have to have a close outer. This outer is to find is for the scope chain. Okay, we will talk about later in demos. This binding, this keyword inside JavaScript is very different based on, it will refer to different things based on different scenarios. And I haven't covered lots of things on this binding. I will have a separate video just to talk about this binding. And for the demos you see today, you will see this binding will always refer to the window. So I want to include it in the execution context when I talk about it, okay? But overall, if you want to more specific, you can follow this like a kind of like a diagram, okay, to see what kind of things is inside the execution context. And when I do demos in the later, okay, I will do a short version, okay. All the things put it in lexical environment. Here now let me show you a demo. I'll show all the demos. First one, I will show you variable declarations, okay. I will use the code and with the join, okay. First one, I will show you let me add this one is already in object, and then now I think it's this one. I will show you it's all data type now. This one create one called execution context. Okay. I will have a first one is a variable, just use ec1, okay, ec1.html, okay, okay, like this way, and I will have one here, open console to see result, and here I have script. Okay, let's see the first one. Okay, first one. Okay, first one, wait me for a second. The first one is like this way. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so suppose I have a variable declared with var here. I will introduce var let const of them as a whole. Okay, I have var variable declared here, and var like suppose my name is called yeah, what happened, Miss Xing. Okay, and now I have clg, which is print my name. Obviously, we will see our name is what? Miss Xing, right? Okay, let me open here. You will see the result, which is Miss Xing. Okay, let me reload again. Okay, Miss Xing, no doubts. Okay, let me change this one to be like this way. Okay, this one is right side, and you will see both of them. Okay. But now, if I switch this console log to the top, what's the value you expect? Here I already show the value. The value is called undefined. Why? Let me explain using the OneNote. I'll draw a diagram to show you. Okay, draw a diagram to show you guys. The first one, let me do it at another one page. So this side is our code, and I'll make this one to be 18. Okay, like this. Okay. So what's gonna happen? We have to take a look at what's inside our execution context stack. So here, where's my? Okay, I have to unplug in this one and plug in again. Okay. Here, I have our core stack. This calling stack, in our case, we call execution stack. Okay, and in the execution stack, who is loaded first is going to be global one. We have global execution context. And when JavaScript engine trying to create the global execution context for us, it will also go in through two phases. The first phase is called the creation phase. Creation phase also have another name called the hoisting phase. Okay, and in this case, we will have a lexical environment being populated. What's gonna be in the lexical environment? Here I don't have like a global execution. We have lexical environment, we have variable environment. In the lexical environment, we also have an environment record. I just put everything in the lexical environment, okay, for shorter. In the lexical environment, during the creation phase, okay, during creation phase, okay, and ask yourself this question: do I have any variable declared with var? Okay, skip those in function declaration, but not in if or for loop or while loop. Those code blocks, I will explain this one later. Okay, we'll talk about it, don't worry. Okay, so first of all, inside my piece of code, do I have any variable declared with var? Yes, I have var my name, right? If it's yes, put it in lexical environment with value undefined. Okay, that's during creation phase, the first case, first scenario. So here the JavaScript engine will scan all your source code and it will say, okay, do I have any variable declared with var? Yes, I have one called my name. So in creation phase, it will have a my name variable here. In this case, it's gonna become a property, okay, in the lexical environment, and the value is undefined. Okay, and other things we'll talk about it later. Okay, and then we also lexical environment will have something called outer, and global don't have an outer, so global's outer is none. Okay, that is this one. And now we will go to what's thing? We will go to creation phase. Oh, it's not a creation phase, exclusion phase. Exclusion phase is gonna do what? As we explained just now, exclusion phase, if it's in the global, still execute the code start at first line. So the first line is what? The first line is console log my name. Now it will do what? My name is a variable, right? He will search your lexical environment. Do I have a property of my name here? Yes, I have my name. What's the value? Undefined. That's why here we'll get undefined. Got it? And now second line. Second line is my name equals Miss Xing. What's gonna happen? Yes, he will change this undefined called Miss Xing. Suppose after this var name, I have console log my name again. My name again. What's gonna happen? You are going to have the value Miss Xing being printed, because in the lexical environment I have my name and it's the value is Miss Xing. Got it? That's why this one is undefined, because when JavaScript executes our code, it will do two steps. The first step, it will do hoisting. And for all the variable declared with var, it's going to be hoisting. And the hoisted value by default is undefined. That's why you get undefined. Okay. Now let me show you another example, which is this one. I will just change this one to be a let. Okay. And as we know, if I put my my name here, it doesn't have any errors, right? But when I move the console log my name declared with a let, I move here. So I put it here. You have errors. See here. Cannot access my name before initialization. This is the error. If I change to be const, it's going to be the same. Okay. So what happened? What happened? Okay, now let me erase this part. I will explain to you guys. Okay, here I will change what thing? I will change the this one to be let or const. Doesn't matter. Okay, let or const. Okay, doesn't matter. And we will see an error, right? Why? Let me show you again here. Okay, so we still need to draw execution context. And in the execution context code stack, we will also have the first one, which is the global one, load first. Global execution context. Still, we will go to the creation phase first. In the creation phase, it's going to be populate the values for the lexical environment, okay, property and values. So now you will ask yourself the first question, do I have any variable declared with var? Here in our example, we don't have any variable declared with var. Second one, do we have any variable declared with let or const. Okay, if yes, put them in TDC. Okay. Here I didn't follow some other article said, okay, which is if any variable declared with let and const, he will put them in lexical environment with a special state called uninitialized. I will just have another area here, which is this area is outside this, you can think it's outside, it's a special area called TDZ. TDZ, it's not an official term, just like a community term talking about temporal data zone, which means here we will record all the variables declared with let and const in the creation phase. So my name is, is here. Yeah. Where's my pointer? Wait me for a second. Okay. My name is here. Okay, this variable, because we have a variable declared with let and const. And now what do we have? We don't have this one. We don't have variable declared with var, but we do have. We already put it TDZ. Any variable, if you put it TDZ, if you are trying to access any variable which are in TDZ, you will get an error, which is an uninitialized error. Okay, now we haven't finished. Here we do have an outer, which is a null. Okay, nothing else. And then we will go to a next stage, which is execution stage. In the execution stage, we will still execute the code line by line from the first one, because we are in global. Okay, global console log my name. Okay, we are trying to access a variable called my name. In my lexical environment, do I have a variable called my name? Here we don't have, but it's in TDZ. And when we access a variable inside a TDZ, we will get an error, which is the variable is not initialized. So that's the reason we have this error inside our browser. When we execute this one, okay, when we execute, you will have a reference error, cannot access my name before initialization. Okay, that's why if we switch to here, you got this error. Okay, you got this error. This is the second scenario. Now let me go with more scenario to show you guys here. Okay. In this case, we will talk about something called a code block. This is a code block, okay. And also, like when we have if-else statement, it will also create a scope. If people know Java, like an if-else condition, when we say if true, okay. If true, here we use two braces. But inside here, if I define a variable var x equals 10, var my name, okay, equals miss xing, okay. And if I do like this way, okay, no matter no matter here, if I call name here, you will get miss xing. And if I console log my name here, you will get undefined. And here you will get miss xing the value. Why do like this way? Because when for the variables you declare with var, this brace cannot create a scope. Okay, only function can create a scope for variables declared with var. So now let me draw this diagram for you. Okay, we'll go back to the OneNote, and here I will use the latest code here. Okay. I put the code here, and it's better I do like this way. Let me create a JS file for copy paste. Okay, ec.js, okay, and I put it here because if I directly copy from HTML, it's gonna have it's gonna have an indentation, and I don't want to format in the OneNote, so I will do copy and paste. I will go to the OneNote, and here I didn't need to deal with that. So when I execute this code, what's gonna happen inside our execution context? Let me draw for you guys again. Okay, I still use this one because here have my notes. That's why I do like this way. Okay. Okay, so we will have an execution stack, and we still go to the global execution context. Okay, still go to creation phase. In the creation phase, JavaScript will scan your code, okay, and skip all the functions. And the first one, do I have any variable declared with var? Okay, and here, if you have variable declared with var, and they are inside if condition, if, okay, here or else, or for loop or while loop, you still will treat them outside it because this brace will not create a scope for my name. So in the creation phase, in the lexical environment, you will still put them, which is my name, in the lexical environment with the value is undefined. If you declare variable with use var and inside if or for loop or while loop the condition, okay. Yes. Okay, my name is undefined, okay? And then we don't have any variable declared with let and const, so here we don't have. Then we have outer is now. And now we will go to execution phase. In the execution phase, we execute the code line by line, in our case from first line. So in first line, console log my name. In my lexical environment, do I have my name? Yes, I have my name. What's the value? Undefined. That's why here is undefined. Now, if true, okay, go inside to be var name. If true, it's go inside, and my name gonna become Miss Xing. Change to Miss Xing. So later on, when we console log my name again, so do I have my name? Yes. In lexical, yes. What's the value? Miss Xing. So here we have Miss Xing here. And if we change this for true to be false, what's going to happen? You will see both of them is undefined. Okay, now let me show you this case. Okay, I still start from creation phase. Okay, in the creation phase, we still need to have the lexical environment. In this lexical environment, even though it's a false, okay, you still need to put my name because this variable declared with var inside the lexical environment, and with the value is undefined. And we don't have others and no latent cost. Here we have out is none. Okay, and now when I console log my name, do I have my name? Yes. What's the value? Undefined. So you will have this one is undefined, and because it's false, it didn't go inside, so skip this. Okay, then console log my name. Do I have my name? Yes. What's the value? Undefined. That's the reason. In previous video, what we saw is about var. Okay, and as we see here, if we put a var in a block scope, which is using brace, it cannot create a scope. But now let me change to be using a let. Okay, suppose here what we do change is just change this one to be a let. Okay, then everything gonna be different, because in JavaScript, when a variable declared with a let and const inside a code block, okay, which is only has a brace, it's gonna create a scope for that. So we will still start from where? We're still from the global execution context from the creation phase. Now let's take a look at. Okay, so here from the same piece of code here, and then creation phase, which is the hoisting part. In the lexical environment, we're gonna have what? We are going to scan our code and take a look at, do I have any variable declared with var? And I don't have. Do I have any variable declared with let and or const? Yes, we do have one here, but this let const is inside the what thing? Inside the code block, this brace. So let const, they are not in global. Okay, so in this case, in our global, we only has a outer is not in global execution context. Okay, and then we go to execution stage. I use another color. In the execution stage, still from the first line. And the first line say what? First line console log by my name. Okay, in my lexical environment, do I have a variable called my name? And you can see here, I don't have. So in this case, it's gonna throw error, and the remaining won't be executed. So now let's take a look at inside the Visual Studio Code to show you. Okay, this scenario. Let me go back to the Visual Studio Code. So here I will change this one to be let, and I will remove this two, and you will see it's gonna have error. Okay, and now I will go inside. I have to just we can use. Let me refer to here. Okay, I have one here. Let me change here. Okay, format, and I will open in the browser. Here, open in the browser and inspect. And let's see, you already see, okay, my name is not defined. That is because the reason my name is not defined. Okay, so suppose we have another scenario. Suppose in our code we don't have this line. And then what's gonna happen? So just now, let's start from execution phase. Okay, so the creation phase is still same. We only have outer because the let is in the if this scope. Okay, now we go to execution phase. In the execution phase, we start with the first line. Okay, and first line if true, and it has a variable called declared with a let and const. JavaScript will create another lexical environment. When we create another lexical environment, we will also treat the if this block as the same as other function call and global. Okay, and it will have execution context again, and here we also have a creation phase. In the lexical environment, you will do the exactly same as you did before. So here, you don't need to ask do I have any variable declared with var, because if variable declared with var, it's gonna be in the global in our case. Okay, so just need to ask in the creation phase, do I have any variable declared with let or const? And if we have, we will put them in some area called TDZ, right? And here we'll have my name. Okay, and then here we do have something else which we call the outer. The if is where based on the source code. Based on our source code, if condition is inside the global. So here we will have a global here. Okay, and then we finished on the creation phase. We'll go to execution phase. In the execution phase, we will do go inside the brace. What we do is my name and assign the value, and when we assign value, we have to put it inside in the lexical environment. So if we access console log in the if condition, you will get a miss xing because it's inside the if execution context. Okay, and now after this statement, we don't have any more statement after this brace. So we are end of the if condition, right? And if we are end of if condition, we'll do what? We'll pop out. We'll pop out. Okay. We'll pop it out and pull it out. Then we go back to our global. Just now we just finished this one, so we go to next line. Next line say console log my name. In my global, do I have my name? we don't have. So in this case, you still will have what? You will have a exception, okay? Through an exception. So here I remove this one, okay? Then I just do like this way, and we go back to our global. You will still have exception, okay? And it says the line is in 12. See here, line is this one, because this my name only exists in the if condition. So if I do like this way, CLG and my name, and we definitely will see miss Xing and also the error. Go back to the console. You will see miss energy and the same error. Okay, so this scenario apply for the while, for loop, and yes, if and the code block. Okay, which doesn't have if while, just have two breaks. Okay, which means it also apply to like this way. This is a code block. This is a code block, and this piece of code gonna be immediately execute. So when we do like this way, you will see the same thing as we showed, as we said before. You will have miss Xing being printed, and then my name is not defined, because the same as if. Okay, this is inside another scope. Yes, this will create a scope for all the variables declared with let or const, same as if in this condition. But if I use a var, then you won't have this problem, because if we use a var, and here we will, the line 8 will print undefined, and this one my name, and the line 13 gonna also become miss Xing. So it's gonna be same as you don't have this brace here. Okay, so undefined miss Xing. So only a function will create a scope for var, and the brace cannot. But for let and const, a brace can create a scope, like here we call the block, like if, else condition, while loop, and do while loop, those. Okay, so next one, let's take a look at. We should have. Let me take a look at the next demo. What I want to talk about, function scope. Okay, so now let's take a look at another scenario. So we just mentioned this one cannot create a scope. Now let's go to a function. Okay, what I do is I will put a function here. Okay, and then I will have, let me make it a little bit complicated. Call full, okay? And we can have an if, or if you want, we can do like this way. One, or, okay, if, then we'll first do a var, then we do let and const the same. Okay, let's just do a var. Okay, like this way. Okay, so now, and we pass a 1 here, and this is gonna be true, right? And we will see this one, and what's the value of this one. Now let me show you first. Okay, here you have my name is not defined, which is this one. Okay, but here we do have the values. So what happened here? Let me show you here, because a function will create a scope for function will create a scope for the variables declared with var. Okay, now I will still using the same one. Okay, should I use the same one? Should I use different one? Let me use a different one. But I will just keep the notes here. Okay, I'll go back to here. Is this one? Oh, yes, is this one. Okay, I'll put it below. But all these things I'll come back to add more. Okay, text mode. I'll put it in another place, because otherwise I have to format. This one, let me make a little bit larger. this. I want to make it a little bit down, a little bit down. So here I have enough space to add more things here. Okay, so now let's draw it together. So still here we will have one thing I haven't covered, but let me cover here, which is related to this one. Function declaration. Okay, function declaration in the creation phase is totally hoisted. Okay, function expression depends the variable you assigned using var or letter const. It will treat the same as the variable declaration, and which you have values like primitive values, because the function eventually is also object. Okay, we'll do more demos. We'll do one more demos about function expression to show you guys later. But the function declaration and the function scope, I will talk about them together. Okay. So here we have this piece of code. What's gonna be look like inside the when JavaScript engine try to execute it. Okay, so we still have a global execution context. Still started with the creation phase. And we have lexical environment. In this case, you have to ask the first question. Okay, let's follow this one. First question: do I have any variable declared with var? You don't take a look at those inside the function. Okay, you only take a look at in the global. All the things in the function we skip for now. Okay, I don't have. Do I have any variable declared with let and const? No, we don't have. So now you add your third question: do we have any function declaration? Here I use the key. I use a function declaration, not a function expression. Okay, this is called a function declaration, as I show you here. And if yes, put in lexical environment as whole, because in creation phase, the function declaration will be reserved as a whole. It's not like a variable declared with var, we give undefined. No, it will reserve as a whole. Okay, so here we have a function declaration. So here I will have a foo, which is a function. Okay, and we don't have others so far, so we will have an outer, which is none. Okay, now this is our creation phase done. Now let's go to the execution phase. In the execution, we will also go to the code line by line, start our first line. But the first line is function declaration. Function declaration we just skip. Okay, we skip because we're already done in the creation phase here. So we skip here, and now we will go do this one, foo1. Okay, foo1 is what? Foo is a function call. Whenever we create a function call, we should do what? We should always create a functional execution context. And before I draw, I have to follow step. Foo1, foo is do I have a variable named foo? Yes, I have. And since I add a parenthesis and pass argument 1, it means it must be function. So is a foo function? Yes, it's a function. So now I can make a call. When we make a call, we will draw another foo function execution context. Also start with the creation phase. In lexical environment, you ask yourself all the questions we have covered. So here we have variable declared with var. And when we have variable declared with var, this brace cannot create a scope for that. Instead, my name gonna be in the scope of function foo. So here you will have my name. Okay, and the value is undefined by default. Okay, and we do have what's thing? We do have an outer. Outer of the foo is global, right? And for functional execution context in the lexical environment, you do have another two. Here in the foo, we have what's thing? We have arguments, okay? So for all the arguments in the creation phase, we treat them as a local variable declared. So in lexical environment, you will have arg, the value is 1 in the creation phase added here. And also for all the function it will have an implicit object called arguments. So here we will also have an implicit object called arguments. The 0, which index is mentioned as 1. Okay, here what I passed. The length is 1. The arguments is an implicit array-like object. If you are interested, you can take my previous videos in the playlist. Okay, here I don't want to go all review. So now I'm done the creation phase. I will go to execution phase. Since we execute the function, so our value, we will start from the first statement in the function body. This is my function body. Okay, this is my function body. I start with the first one, if arg, if argument. Okay, now do I have an argument? Yes, I do have an argument. What's the value? The value is 1. 1 will consider as a choosy value. Since it's choosy value, I will execute, go inside to if. In the if, I will assign Miss Xing to my name. Okay, so here I will assign Miss Xing to my name. Okay, and then we are done if. Now I go to console log my name in the function foo. So in the foo function, do I have my name? Yes, I have. What's the value? Miss Xing. So this one will print Miss Xing in the console. And after it's done, the function is done. Since it's function done, we have to pop out from the, we have to pop out from our code execution stack. Okay, pop out. Okay, we are done. So just now in the global, we paused on this one, go to execute foo, right? Now we resume. So now we console log my name. In my global execution context, do I have a variable declared with my name? No, that's why they will throw exception. My name is not defined, right? So that's this one. Here prove. Okay, so you will have Miss Xing and my name is not defined because inside our global execution context, global, we don't have a variable declared with my name. Okay, so it will throw error and then all the things gonna be pulled out. Okay, automatically because you have exception through. Okay, and then my stack is empty. The application is done. This is one. Now let's do another scenario. Okay, which is let me change 2 parts. Okay, let me change 2 areas, then I will show you. Okay, here I will show you another scenario which is like this way. Okay, and I will show you another one. Here I will have A, and here I will have 2, 2, 2. Okay, and I do like this way. And this one is the same, so I just remove it because it's not in the global. Okay, now if I do like this way, will it work? First it will work, and my name gonna be Miss Xing being printed. Show you now. Did I save? Oh, I didn't save. I didn't copy, and I didn't change it in this area. I should change it in this area. And go here, refresh, it works. Okay, no errors. The reason is because function declaration are hoisted. Okay, now let me show you what are they mean. Okay, so if I call the function foo before function declaration, it still works, right? Why? Let's take a look at in the OneNote here. Let me change to use the text. Okay, I put it here. Let me make it a little bit larger. Oh, I want to change another one. I change this one to be late. I want. So we see difference now. And this is a part change. The other one I want to change to use late, so we can practice more. Okay. I just change this one to be late. It's easier. Okay, and I'll make the font larger so you guys can see clear. Okay, now let's take a look at our execution context. Wait a minute for a second. Okay. My house is messy, this room, so I didn't turn on the camera. Okay, I moved the direction of my table, so I bought a green screen to remove the background. It will arrive tomorrow, so today when I'm recording you didn't see me. Okay, anyway, you are fine. Okay, so now let's execute the code. We'll still start with global execution context, and we will have a creation phase. In the creation phase, we still will populate the values for the lexical environment, and you ask yourself the questions as I listed above. First, do I have any variable declared with var? And if I have, then you put it in the lexical environment with a default value undefined. And second, ask yourself, do I have any variable declared with a let or const? If we have, put them in TDZ. Okay, and now the third question is, do I have any function declaration? And in our case here, we don't have any variable declared with var, we don't have any variable declared with a let or const inside the global, okay, execution context. Okay, but we do have a function declaration which name is foo, and it's a function declaration. Okay, we reserve all the space for the foo, not put it undefined here. Okay, if we put it undefined, it's gonna have error. Okay, because here we reserve all of them. Okay, and then we will have another thing is called outer in our case, which is global. Okay, global, how to find the outer based on the source code. Okay, now we go to the execution phase. In the execution phase, we start with the first line. Okay, first line, I will make a function call to foo. So he will check in my global execution concept, do I have a function foo? Do I have a foo variable? Yes, because I'm making function call. Is it a function? Yes. So that's why you can call before you actually declare the function. Okay, because in the creation phase, before execute, the entire function is already reserved inside the lexical environment. So since we can find it, we can execute it. We will execute it like this way, which is a full function execution context. We still start from the creation phase. In the creation phase, we have to populate the lexical environment. And for the lexical environment, ask yourself those questions. Do I have any variable declared with var? No. Do I have any variable declared with let and const? Okay, here I have, but we have to take care. Look at it carefully. This let my name is inside a if condition, and if it's in the if condition, we don't put it in the function scope. Because my name is only exists in the if condition, we cannot access it outside the function. Okay, and then so here we only have what? So here we will have outer, which is global. This one not a global. Okay, this one should be not. Okay, global, and then we should have what? We should have arguments. See here, this argument here we'll treat it as a local variable. In the creation phase, the value is a. And how about this two? You don't have anything to catch it, so this one gonna be ignored. Okay, if you wonder why, go to my first it's a language feature. Okay, and we are given different scenarios in another video. You can take a look at called Go charts about the functions. You can take a look at it by yourself. Okay. And we do have another implicit object called arguments, which exists in every function. And in this case, arguments will represent all the arguments you passed in. So here I pass a, which is 0, is a. And we pass 222, which is 1, is 222. And we will have a length property, the value is 2. Okay, because we have 1, 2 here. That's the difference between here I pass more arguments, but I only have one parameter to receive it. Okay. Now we will go to execution phase. Execution phase, we still will have if condition here. If arguments, we'll take a look at in the arguments, what's the value? Do I have ARG? Yes, I have. What's the value? A will treat it as a true C value. Since it's true C value, it will go inside to the if condition. And since it's in the if condition, and we have a let declared, we will have a if execution context being created, and then we'll go to the creation phase. Okay, in the creation phase, lexical environment gonna have what? Lexical environment only has outer. The outer is what? The outer is a function foo. Okay, and then we do have what? We do have a TDZ in the creation phase, which is my name here. Okay, and if you access anything, which any variable, and this variable is existing in the TDZ, you're gonna have error. You cannot access. Okay, and now we go to execution phase. In the execution phase, we just have my name equals MSNG. So we move out from TDZ and have my name equals Miss XING. Okay, and now we don't have anything else in the if condition, and then we're gonna do proper out. Suppose in the if condition you have console log my name, you have Miss XING being printed, right? But we didn't have anything, so we proper out. Out this part. Okay, if okay, now the if condition is done. We now go back to our function. The next statement is console log my name. So in my full function, do I have my name? I don't have. So here I don't have, right? I don't have. So if we don't have, it's gonna happen what? It will go to the outer to find the global. Okay, follow the scope chain, which is the outer. We'll talk about more. In the global, do I have my name? I don't have. Then it's gonna have it's going to have what's the exception being through, which is no variable declared with my name. So here we're through exception. Okay, through exception. Okay, through an error. Okay, this is this case. Okay, clear, right? Okay, function declaration is hoisted, which means you can call this function before the declaration statement inside the source code. Okay. Now I think this one covered. Okay, var variable, only function can create a scope for var. Let me give you one more shorter. This one, okay. This one I'm talking about here. My name, you're gonna have exception because this my name exists. Even this my name exists scope is this function foo, but outside of this one you cannot get it. You have error here. Okay, this is this part. Now let me go to another one, which is function declaration with a function expression. And I showed you guys a demo before, which is like this. Suppose here now I have function foo. Okay. Okay, and I just add a foo. Okay, and we also just showed foo. I can call like this way, right? And it doesn't have any error. When we call like this, you have foo being printed. But now what I'm going to do is I will do like this way. Let foo equals like this way. Okay. This one doesn't matter is a letter. It matters. Doesn't matter is a letter or const, but it matters it's a var or a letter. Okay, because var is different. So if I do like this way, I convert the function declaration into this one is called the function expression. And now when we do, it's gonna have error. You have cannot access foo before initialization. Okay, but if I change to be var, you will see another error. Okay, you will see another error. Foo is not a function. Okay, that is because when we declare with var, foo will have a default value is undefined. If it's undefined, then it will say foo is not a function. Okay, so now let's take a look at this case. Okay, what happened? I put it here. I make it to let me make it to be larger. Ugly. I want to start over. Okay, I didn't like it. I'll put it inside the JS file. So all of them gonna start from the indentation is correct. So then I'll go back to here to put it here to do it. Okay. Now let's take a look at it here, how it's gonna be look like. Okay. We still start from global execution context. Let me make it larger. Okay, this one is larger enough. Okay. Global execution context and the creation phase. Okay, creation phase. Okay, now in the creation phase, we will populate the lexical environment. So what's going to be in the lexical environment? Ask yourself those questions. Do I have any variable declared with var? Yes, I have. Then put it here. The foo is undefined. Do I have any function variable declared with let or constant? No. Do I have any function declaration? No. This is called the function expression. Okay, it's not a function declaration. So we only have what's thing? Only have outer yes not here. Okay. Now we will go to execution phase. In the execution phase, I will execute the function foo. So now, do I have any variable called foo? Yes, I have. And here is a function call, so it must be a function. So is a foo a function? No, it's undefined. Then you will get the value, you will get the exception is, okay, you have foo, but it's not a function. So you get what? You get foo is not a function, you cannot call it. Okay, that's this part. But now if I change to be var, you will see another error, right? If this one change to be if this part let me erase this entire thing here, and I go here. If here I change it to use let or const, okay? Let, okay? Or const is the same, okay? I don't do const, okay? Let's do a const. Const and let here is the same, okay? Okay, let's do a const, okay? So what's going to happen? We still will go to the global execution context. Let me okay, we'll still go to global execution context creation phase, and we will have to populate the lexical environment. So ask yourself, do I have any variable declared with var? No. Do I have any variable declared with let const? Yes, we do have. If we do have, we put them where? We put them in TDZ. TDZ is foo, right? And now, do I have any function declaration? No. This one is called the function expression. Okay, and we are done. Oh, I forgot about the outer. We do have outer equals now. Okay, and then we have to go to execution phase. In the execution phase, we start from the first line. First line is called make a function call to foo. So in my lexical environment, do I have a function, a variable called in this case a property called a foo here? No, we don't have. If we don't have, then you're gonna have a reference error, right? Did I change it in the here? Okay, let me change to be a const. Okay, you will see a different error, but all of them gonna see the error. You see, cannot accessible before initialization because we define use a const or let. They are in TDZ. Whenever you access something in a TDZ, you will see that error. So that's the difference between function declaration and a function expression. Function declaration is hoisted. Function expression is not hoisted. You can treat a function expression the same as primitive values. Like you create a const or let something equals 1, 2, 3, 4, true or false, true or false. Okay, like that. Okay, so this one. This one. Okay, now we will go to scope chain, and before I move into scope chain, I want to make one more thing here. Okay, if in it's a functional execution context. Okay, don't forget to add arguments object. It's only this arguments object only exists inside the function execution context, not in global. Okay, and don't forget to add arguments or parameters into lexical environment during creation phase. Okay, that's what we did before. I couldn't remember. Probably I removed. Okay, which are these two? This one. Okay, this one and this ARGA and arguments here. Okay. So here I want to make a little bit of change. For the scope chain, I originally want to be in the same video, in this video, but I realize it's going to be very long, and when I edit the videos, it's also longer than I expected. So I will make scope chain, which is more examples we're gonna cover in next video. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.